The new minutes will be a game changer. Keep on watching.
Welcome to Washington, America show with international multimedia journalist, multidimensional, multifaceted artist and director of Human Rights Justice Council USA, Dr. Kashif Sohail.
Election Day in the United States is the Tuesday following the first Monday in November. It can fall on or between November 2nd and November 8th. It is the day when popular ballots are held to select public officials. These include national, state and local government representatives at all levels up to the president. Election Day is a public holiday in some areas, where it is a day off and schools and most businesses are closed. In other areas, Election Day is a normal working day. On Election Day, citizens can vote by popular ballot for candidates for public offices at local, state and national levels. Election Day for federal offices is held on the Tuesday after the first Monday in November in even-numbered years. Elections for local and state officials may be held in odd or even-numbered years, depending on local and state laws. The way in which people vote depends on the state in which they live. In Oregon, all votes are cast by post and all votes have to be received at a given time on Election Day. In the state of Washington, nearly all people vote by post and the envelopes containing the voting papers have to be postmarked with the date of Election Day. In other states, people vote at voting stations, where long queues can form.
Election Day is not a federal holiday, but it is a yearly or biennial holiday in some states, including Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Montana, West Virginia. Employees in some states have the legal right to have time off work to vote, and in some cases, without losing any pay. Law was passed allowing each of the states to conduct presidential elections at any point in the 34 days before the first Wednesday in December. This was the date when meetings of the electors of the U.S. President and Vice President, known as the Electoral Colleges, were held in each state. A date in November or early December was preferable because the harvest would have been finished, but the most severe winter storms would not have begun. As long-distance communication improved and became quicker with the advent of trains and telegraphs, allowing each state to conduct its elections at any point in a period of more than a month, became outdated. The results of the elections that were announced earliest could influence the outcomes of elections held later in the permitted period. In 1845, the United States Congress chose a single date for all national elections in all states. The first Tuesday after the first Monday in November was chosen so that there would never be more than 34 days between Election Day and the first Wednesday in December. Election Day is held on a Tuesday so that voters will not have to vote or travel on Sunday.
On Inauguration Day, which is on January 20th every 4 years, the President and Vice President are sworn in and take office. On November 3rd, millions of Americans trek to their local polling places to cast their ballots for the next president. That evening, after the polls close, they settle down in front of their televisions to watch the returns roll in from across the country. Sometime that night or early the next morning, the networks and wire services will call the race, and Americans know whether the president won a second term or been ousted by new winner. Over the years, Americans have gotten used to their election nights coming off like a well-produced game show, with the big reveal coming before bedtime, a few exceptions like the 2000 election notwithstanding. In truth, they've never been quite as simple or straightforward as they appeared. By Election Day, much of the voting already has happened. In 2016, 54.5% of all ballots nationwide were actually cast in person on Election Day. The share was roughly the same, 55.4%, in the 2018 midterms. Mail ballots pose a challenge to election workers, because they must be manually removed from their envelopes and verified as valid before they can be fed into the tabulating machines. Although election workers in at least 32 states can start processing ballots, but not, in most cases, counting them, a week or more before Election Day. These counts may not be finished by election night depending on how many come in.
Cast your vote, it's extremely important. 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 In a half-dozen states, including the battlegrounds of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, processing can't start until Election Day itself. Also, in 23 states, plus D.C., mail ballots postmarked by Election Day, or in a few cases the day before, can still be counted even if they arrive days later, further lengthening the counting process. Bottom line, any vote totals reported on election night will be even more unofficial than they typically are. It's all about the electors. Unlike other U.S. elections, in which voters pick the winners directly, those millions of presidential votes don't actually be cast for the candidates. Instead, they count toward a statewide tally to select the electors, the mostly little-known men and women who actually elect the president. Each state has as many electoral votes as it has senators and representatives combined, or, in the case of the D.C., as many as it would have if it were a state. There are 538 in total, with 270 votes needed to win. As the Congressional Research Service puts it, the electors tend to be a mixture of state and local elected officials, party activists, local and state celebrities, and ordinary citizens. Cast your vote, it's extremely important. Cast your vote, it's extremely important. In all but 2 states, the candidate with the most popular votes statewide, regardless of whether it's a majority or a plurality, gets all that state's electoral votes. Maine and Nebraska do it differently. The statewide popular vote winner gets 2 of the electoral votes, and the winner in each House district gets an electoral vote.
Each state has until December 8 this year to resolve any controversy or contest concerning the appointment of its slate of electors under its own state laws. That effectively gives states more than a month after Election Day to settle any challenges to their popular votes, certify a result and award their electoral votes. If they do so by this safe harbor date, Congress is bound to respect the result. The electors meet in their respective states on December 14th, officially, the Monday after the second Wednesday in December, and formally cast their votes for president and vice president. The Constitution expressly forbids them from meeting as a single nationwide group, a provision the framers put in to reduce the chances of mischief. The electors are supposed to vote for the candidates whose name they were elected under. In fact, 32 states, plus D.C., have laws intended to bind the electors to their candidates. The Supreme Court unanimously upheld such laws.
Cast your vote, it's extremely important. Cast your vote, it's extremely important. Hurry up.
So-called faithless electors have on occasion broken their pledges, though never enough to actually swing the outcome. In any event, the electors' votes are supposed to be delivered to the vice president, in his capacity as president of the Senate, and a handful of other officials by December 23, the fourth Wednesday in December. Congress has a role in this too. The newly elected Congress swears in on January 3rd. 3 days later, it assembles in joint session to formally open the electors' ballots, count them and declare a winner. Only then is the president officially elected.
Any pair of one senator and one representative can object to any of those votes as not having been regularly given, that is, not cast according to law. Each state is supposed to submit one set of electoral votes to Congress, and that's what usually happens. If two conflicting sets are submitted, say, one by a Republican-run legislature and one by a Democratic governor, and the House and Senate cannot agree on which set is the legitimate one, then the electoral votes certified by the state's governor are supposed to prevail. In elections 2020, experts say the proper functioning of democracy is at risk because of the complications raised by holding elections during the pandemic. Elements of concern include new voting procedures and heightened political polarization. The reason is the heavy reliance this year on slower-to-count mail balloting during the coronavirus pandemic. It might not even be an election night at all. Depending on how close the election is in key states, the confusion, and even mischief, it could be more like election week. Many states have eased the process of mail voting, often by eliminating the need for an excuse to vote by mail. A few states are going so far as to send ballots to every active registered voter in 2020: California, Nevada, New Jersey, Vermont, and the District of Columbia. They joined 5 states that were already effectively vote-by-mail states: Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Washington, and Utah. Cast your vote, it's extremely important. 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 Cast your vote, it's extremely important.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click the link below in order to find out more.
Please share this video, subscribe to our channel.